Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News. The main event is over in the North American and the European side. The playoffs bracket is officially confirmed, but Sentinels getting destroyed on all fronts by Cloud9 last night, getting roasted for it as a result. So you can really blame Cloud9 for going the extra mile to rub salt into the wounds. After another disappointing performance, what is next for this team? What is next for this organization? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Let's just crack straight on with things. Firstly, with the European side, because of course we saw yesterday, big news was M3C, the G2 situation. Both of those teams involved to some degree yesterday. This is a big round right here for Big to try and win, just to, well, take it over BBL, but already 1-0 down in the series at this point to BBL, and Big end up losing this series as well. So a massively important one for M3C, because BBL winning this, the Turkish guys over Big, means that Nats and the guys on M3 Champions, former Gambit, they make it through to the playoffs. We talked about yesterday that if Big won that series against BBL, they would be through to playoffs, but instead it's BBL the win, and therefore it's M3C, M3 Champions that make it through as well. Now, the other matchup was Fnatic versus G2, and in fairness, G2 looked much better this series, I think, than they have done. Like a nice, well, color two kills right here from Turko to get them over the line in this round. But I mean, yeah, and even Fnatic kind of, also doing the same thing that we'll see other teams do to Sentinels in a second, kind of rubbing salt in the wounds by putting this one out, challenges, playoffs highlights, which of course they do not make. So yeah, G2 out of there. But the rumor had it that, okay, G2, were they going to make a roster change? Were they going to drop their roster? Were they going to disband their team? That was a talking point yesterday, just because, I mean, look, at the end of the day, G2 fallen far short of their expectations, not failing, well, failing, of course, to make the playoffs here. It was Fnatic, Ascend, of course, and an FPX that made it from that Group A, but as Nuki does confirm, this roster will stay the same until the end of the LCQ, and if we qualify for the World Championship, then that event as well, just to clear some things up, because, of course, a lot have been discussed on that front over the last couple of days. So G2 say they're sticking, nothing's changing over there, they're not signing the Gambit team or whatever, the former Gambit team, but, they're sticking with this roster for now. So, of course, like, last chance qualifier, that's going to be big for them, but, we'll see how it goes. So here are the groups on the EMEA side. I'll talk about the other regions now. Their kind of playoffs are shaping up over the coming days here. There's just too much to talk about today that I'm not going to talk about all the regions today, but I will get there over the coming days, especially as these playoffs progress next weekends. But, yeah, these are how the groups shaped up. So Fnatic, Ascend, FPX, Fnatic 5-0. They did lose the map to G2, so fair play G2 actually turning up in this series, but it's M3 Champions that just about win that three-way tiebreaker to send them through. That leaves their bracket looking like this. So only 6 teams qualify in the EMEA side. Ascend play M3C, Liquid play FPX round 1. The winner of this top series plays Guild. Winner of the bottom series plays Fnatic. If we get like FPX Fnatic, that's going to be a banger. Like, yeah, these playoffs are very spicy indeed. Fnatic to me are the favourites for this entire tournament, but yeah, it's far from easy to call how this one is going to go. Let's talk about the North American side then. Firstly, like, I do find it kind of funny when VALORANT kind of throw these things into the broadcast, but just because TenZ was last night on stream playing some League of Legends, or like, I guess the night before, and yeah, he obviously he loses the map as a KDA of the following, and they're kind of throwing a bit of a jab in here, the fact that, okay, yeah, TenZ night before match, maybe you shouldn't be playing League of Legends, maybe you should be playing, the game itself, and maybe that kind of hurt him make map 1, right? Who knows? But they did throw this one up here. But honestly, this series was just so embarrassing for the Sentinels guys. Like, they just got completely blown out of the water. Like, I thought that maybe they could put up at least a fight right here. Yes, they're not playing with their full team. Like, Raucus is there, Sick isn't there, right? Maybe if they had that, maybe if they had other situations, it would have been better. But, we know that this team isn't particularly good. They've really been struggling. But, like, the fall off of Sentinels from where they were, like, a year or so ago to where they are today is honestly mind-blowing, like, how quickly it's happened, to be honest. And, like, honestly, what happens next for this team, I'm sure you guys will put your thoughts in the comment section below. But as Dephh says, Battle of the Bums at 4 PM Eastern, and this was a quick one. Honestly, this game one here on the Haven, like, every single round was going the way of Cloud9. There was a nice round that dapr got where he got a nice little ace. Felt like he was probably the one playing the best on this team. But, I mean, yeah, TenZ was going in a lot on his own, like, no support from the teammates, not getting any kills, not getting traded out. Even when Sentinels did have an advantage, they just lost it regardless. And, like, just this final round sums up their entire season so far, to be honest. Like, this is just, it's kind of hilarious, really. Like, the Sky Dog comes around the corner, ShahZaM's there in a 1 versus 4, he gets the first kill, and then the Sky Dog comes around and takes him out. We will look at this clip fully in a second, it's going to replay here, but you can see ShahZaM's in a 1 versus 4, gets the first kill, then the Sky Dog comes around the corner, he's on 21 HP, and just takes him out for the game. So that just really sums things up. 13-2 game 1, and TenZ map 1 went 2-15. Sentinels say, pretty cool, right? Just stream a ranked game, right? So they're trying to smile through the tears, I suppose, but again, maybe not working out particularly well. And yeah, TenZ 2-15. How often do you see this, right? This guy was non-existent in game 1, game 2 he did a little bit, but I mean, yeah, look, this happens sometimes at the end of the day, but it's just, it's really tough to see. For a guy like TenZ, like, at the talent that he has, the fact that the only map that they won at this entire stage was when TenZ dropped a 40 bomb in that overtime on Breeze it was, to win an actual map. Every other map they've played, they've lost, and I mean, yeah, there was really, like, TenZ it's not like he was playing great at all. If you're 2-15, you're not playing great, but at the same time, like, you know, he was going in, he was dying, like, the trades weren't exactly there, the team cohesion was just not existent, some of the play calls that they were making were just terrible, the amount of times they would just try and do something with guns and just get shut down for a flawless round for Cloud9 was so often, to be honest. And then game 2, they actually put up a bit of a fight here, they're up 7-5 here after their defensive sides, but I mean, yeah, they failed to win a round here after this, I'm pretty sure, and I mean, yeah, Leaf made a kind of crazy play here to win this pistol, but the full collapse from Sentinels comes through, they lose all these rounds in a row and end up losing the series 2-0, 13-7 on this game too, and yeah, Sentinels say, look, think of how we warmed up we would be if the matches were 9 games long. So the thing is, right, they actually still have a chance to make the last chance qualifier, which is kind of incredible to think about, but it's only if a very specific circumstance happens, we'll see here in a second, which does look also rather unlikely right now, so we'll see how that goes. But again, dapr says 0-2 versus Cloud9, we are the ultimate bums, almost feels surreal how badly we are playing. He doesn't actually say that, but you know, pretty much that's what he means here, right? So yeah, sorry to the fans and stuff like this. TenZ says year is basically over for us, GG's to Cloud9. So yeah, honestly, like, look, we know that Cloud9 should be a better team than Sentinels, but with the curry change, they weren't looking so good. They were 1-4 going into this Sentinels, or they were 1-3 going into this. Sentinels was 0-4. Like, a win here would have been big, would have put them above them, the 5th seed, would have got 5 extra circuit points for that one, which could have been important, but as it turns out, not the case at all. And VALORANT, as I said earlier, kind of rubbing salt in the wounds. Now you can watch the good teams, right, admitting that, okay, they might not be particularly good right now, but Sentinels most certainly aren't, right? And just the fact that Cloud9 were the worst team in this group on current form compared to the rest of the guys, and they beat Sentinels like this, just shows me, man, I don't know what this team's going to do, because next year we expect this organization to get a spot in the franchise side. Like, is TenZ going to be there? Like, it just seems like the rest of the guys, like ShahZaM, if ShahZaM is still competing next year, I'd be mind blown, to be honest. I feel like he's going to go down the content route. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't, to be honest. I feel like it's been coming for quite some time. I know that TenZ also does an awful lot of content as well, but I still feel like he's got some great performances in him. I feel like he's still got a great career and future ahead of him here in VALORANT if he wants to commit to it, but if he's going to do that, it's going to have to be on a different organization. Well, not necessarily a different organization, but certainly a different team to this one. I feel like TenZ and Sick and even dapr, right, could definitely be valuable pieces to other organizations, right, that could potentially make moves over the coming, you know, who knows what's going to happen between this season and the next, but yeah, this team is obviously going to have to completely blow it apart and change things around. I feel bad for cNed as well in a way that, like, effectively his stock is probably lowered now, if anything, than it was when he was just on a crew, right? People are going to know about cNed, but you know, it just feels kind of sad for him the way things have gone the last couple of weeks or so. What this does mean, though, is that FaZe Clan have secured last chance qualifiers at the very least, so good stuff for FaZe. They, of course, very much struggled stage 1. They made it through to the playoffs here, and of course, by doing so, with Sentinels falling short, without getting those extra 5 points they would have had for beating Cloud9, FaZe has secured guaranteed LCQ qualification. The only way that Sentinels still does it is if Ghost doesn't win a single game in the playoffs. So I believe right now Sentinels are sitting at the final spot for LCQ qualification, but if Ghost wins anything at the major or at the kind of playoffs in a week or so's time, then they will pick up more points than Sentinels have, and therefore they will go above Sentinels. Sentinels will go out. So Sentinels need Ghost to get double first rounders. If they do, then at Sentinels I think can still make LCQ, and therefore they still have something to fight for this season, but they're probably thinking that it's chalked and it's time to blow it all apart and try something else for next year, even if they get a spot next year, right? So, like, I don't know what you guys think about this, but from my opinion, this team's just got to disappear. I feel like once Sick is back and, you know, dapr and TenZ, like, you know, should either go elsewhere or build around that team, or, like, I don't really know how many players you want to maintain on this squad, but I would say 2 maximum. Like, and as I said, I'd be surprised if ShahZaM is still competing next year, to be honest. That was just the game 2 on the Ascent. Game 1 was Haven, like 13-2. Like, I mean, yeah, the overall series stats are just absolutely disgusting. Like, look, you want to give some credit to the Cloud9 guys, but they were not playing a team that was putting up too much of a fight on the other side of the series, to be honest. Now, as Vanity very eloquently said, okay, like, now let the good teams go on and play. So OpTic played, of course, up against Luminosity Gaming. A very close fought affair here on the split. It was OpTic actually that were up 9-3 after their first half. The 9-3 curse almost came to reality. LG then won, well, kind of ex-LG as it is right now, Allgless, because LG had decided that they're going to drop this team after the season has concluded. I think they're still playing for them in name right now and probably still getting salaries, at least for the next month or so. But after that, they're not going to be an LG team anymore, because LG don't believe they're going to get a spot next season in the franchise side. But again, LG brought this back to, well, a 12-12 scoreline, goes to overtime, OpTic win it regardless, and then they take the game 2 as well. So, close series. OpTic, I don't think, played their greatest Valorant right here. LG certainly still putting up a fight. Very solid team. They're going to be at the playoffs. We'll see how they perform there. But again, some big rounds from OpTic in the end to close out this round, and then took the series relatively comfortably from there. But wasn't far from a guarantee. OpTic eventually 4-1 here this stage. Won 2-0 versus Allgless. That does mean, though, that they get the number 1 seed. That's nice for them, get the bye through in the winners bracket. But of course, their first round matchup they're going to play in the second round is going to be far from easy as well. A lot to fix before playoffs, they say. And this victory as well, the number 1 seed, FaZe effectively guarantees them passage through to champions this season. I'm pretty sure it's almost guaranteed. It's like 99.9% chance. The only way they wouldn't make it is if they get double rounded here. They lose both their matches they play at the playoffs, and then another North American team wins Masters. Then there's like a very slim chance that OpTic don't make it immediately to champions and have to go through the LCQ, but you know, it's almost certainly not going to happen. So OpTic 2-0 versus Luminosity Gaming, like, I mean, yeah, numbers look like the following. The split was really the map of the series, to be honest here. Victor on the Neon is always a good time to watch. He had a great time here. All these defensive rounds for LG in the end to almost clutch up the series. Didn't happen though. They take it down. That leaves the groups as follows. OpTic 4-1, FaZe 3-2, the second seed actually from Group B in the end of the day. Sentinels 0-5. But yeah, these four teams make it. It's EG that take the number 3 seeds, and LG will start in the losers bracket. Tough scenes for them, and yes, they will match up with Group 8 as we saw yesterday. So this is the bracket. FaZe versus 100 Thieves in the first round. The winner of that plays Xset. Ghost versus Evil Genius is also here. The winner of that plays OpTic, and then the loser of Ghost EG plays NRG. The loser of 800 Thieves plays Luminosity. Right, so really nice bracket. Spicy stuff actually, especially this top series, FaZe versus 100 Thieves, because as Derek points out, reunion of kind of the Vietnam guys, Poised, Superman and the boys, like of course, well, formerly with Derek on the Rise Nation team. They're now playing each other again, having a switch organizations. Derek to 100 Thieves, the rest of the guys to FaZe Clan. We'll see how that one goes over the coming week as well. But the playoffs begin this coming weekend. These are the top 10 rated players from the group stage. Nismo with a 1.37. He was an absolute monster right here, and certainly he's going to be a difficult force to stop, and the rest of his team when it comes to the playoffs in a few days' time. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tell us the YouTube gods this is a good video, and looks like you should see it as well. And I hope grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you much as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Certain area of the map, but as they wait, eventually something gives, and it is dapr just trying to take that swing. Holding close, TenZ with the short. He doesn't get the pick. In fact, the paranoia.
Cue the music.
Cutting across the site. The fully blinded Raucus was no match for it. Leaf on 6 health, but it might not even matter. The cleanup is there. Shaz left alone. It's a 1v4. It's going to be match or map point for Cloud9. Even a Seeker's committed. Seeing that respect shown. Stunned up.
Holy oh!
Win.
Oh,
nah, dude.
Not the dog.
Nah, dude.
Not the dog to finish it.